All right, Shalom. Before I start, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem, Rachach Rash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, peace, blessings, and salutations to all the elect Akim, Wa Akwath, learning, teaching in truth and sincerity. Another video through the Spirit. And now this one, a combination of things. Basically, the main title for this is, what happened to the people of Egypt? Or are the people in Egypt today the ancient Egyptians when you read in the scriptures? And obviously the answer is no. The people who are in there today, the Muslim Arabs, are not the original inhabitants of Egypt, nor are they the Egyptians that we had to deal with. When I say we, the Israelites, they're not the same Egyptians that we were in servitude under. Okay, and we're gonna go look a little bit at history, showing you how the Edomites moved in there under the Ptolemaic line, and then you had when you do some digging, you find out that the Byzantine Empire took over, which was niggas. So niggas, Muslim and wicked niggas was holding it down. Then the Muslim Arabs, the Ishmaelites, got a hold of it, which is now those who hold it down there. And the reason why I got this up, Hannibal Barca is set to be played in a role by Denzel Washington, which the people of that land are outraged. And anciently, the land was known as Carthage. In today's time, it's known as Tunisia, which once again has some Muslim Arabs living there, and they're trying to lay claim of this heritage, and it doesn't belong to them. Hannibal Barca was a dark-skinned Negro male, a so-called black man. Specifically, he was an Israelite. His very name itself, in which the Elder Apostle Tahar has done videos on it, he has a Hebrew name, Khan Ba'al Barqua. All right, Khan Ba'al meaning Baal is great, Barqua, thunder or lightning. All right, so he was a Hebrew man. Matter of fact, just type it in right here, Hannibal. All right, right here. You see very much right here, he had a Hebrew name, and that's Cha, Na, Ba, I, and La. Khan Ba'al. All right. Scrolling down, so he had a Hebrew name. Now, although he had a Hebrew name, him and his family, they weren't observant Jews, if you will. All right. It's he had a name bigging up Baal, so it's it's fair to say he may have been worshiping an idol. All right. But name, it tells you that Hannibal was a common Semitic, Phoenician, Carthaginian personal name. All right, so clearly he was, it tells you right here, he had a common Semitic name, meaning what? He had a common Hebrew name. All right, and jumping down, it gives you the meaning of it, literally. The grace of Baal, Baal, the Lord is gracious, right? But I want to jump to right here. Right here it says Barca is cognate with similar names for lightning found among the Israelites, Assyrians, Babylonians, Arameans, Amorites, Moabites, Edomites, and other fellow Asiatic Semitic peoples. So this lets you know that this was a common Hebrew name, and it mentions who's the Israelites. Why? Because this man was an Israelite. All right, I'm gonna go back to the video, and I'm just bringing this up to show you this is another common thing that is being done today. You have people in lands that don't originally belong to them, yet they're trying to claim that heritage, and when the truth comes out, they get mad about it.
Denzel Washington, according to several sources, is set to be cast as Hannibal in an upcoming Netflix film. Hannibal Barca was a Carthaginian general who came to prominence around 219 BC. Ancient Carthage was located in North Africa, centered in what is today the modern country of Tunisia. Some Tunisians have been vocal about the casting of Denzel Washington, claiming it to be an historical error. Others attribute it to woke culture or pseudo-history. According to reports, some of them...
Right there, they're calling it pseudo-history. No, real history. the version of history that has been given to us was planted in our minds by Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, which the majority of the world accepts. Secularism. All right, you can only teach the white man's version of history without the Bible, but when you look into the scriptures and take it into account, that's when you learn true history. Okay, so Hannibal Barca was an Israelite. Okay, like it or not. All right, and we'll get to Egypt here in a second.
Feel they're being robbed of their history, as Hannibal is a very celebrated figure in Tunisian culture, a hero to many. Given the modern population of Tunisia, the casting of Denzel Washington would undoubtedly elicit many grievances. So it begs the question, why would Netflix do such a thing? And why is there even a question of Hannibal's phenotype to begin with? Is it not clear that Hannibal was an ancient Tunisian man exhibiting the same or similar ethnic characteristics? Apparently the answer to that question is not as clear. For starters, according to the scholarship, no unassailable portrait of Hannibal exists. At least, we have yet to discover one.
So, they're basically, now according to the official scholarship, there's no official directly verified, painting of him saying, this is me, right? Well, how come? Why is it automatically assumed then that he's a white man? Because that was the motive for the past couple hundred years. Oh, he's a white man, when everybody in history is Edomite, right?
There's no letters from Hannibal, whether to his wife or to anyone else, have been preserved, so no bust or statue exists that can safely be identified with him. The coins and or busts that are usually associated with Hannibal are said to either depict the Phoenician Hercules or a generic image of a hero. Take, for example, this highly disseminated.
And now this is a famous picture. If I were to go back to Wiki, this is the main picture that they have up. But this picture isn't even directly him. Come to find out.
Bust of Hannibal. There is no agreement as to whether this is an authentic image of him, and many aren't aware of that fact. One source shares the image along with the following description. Presumed marble portrait bust of Hannibal found near Naples. Strong suspicions exist that this is actually a Renaissance work and not a Roman portrait.
So it's a Renaissance era sculpt, a bust. And what do we know about the Renaissance? The revival of who? Esau, Edom. And what was he famously doing in this time period? Iconoclasm. Destroying and repainting images in his likeness, y'all. And I'm gonna get some scriptures in a minute, but we're just going through all this. So this is laying the foundation for this Egypt issue. All right. Now, we're not Egyptians. We're not Hamites. We're not, we could give less of a fuck about them. We're not of the line of Matazarium. But the truth is the truth. And the fact that the Egyptians were dark-skinned folk. And that just is what it is.
In fact, we have no authentic likeness of the great Carthaginian commander. This nuance is still not enough.
So that famous picture of him isn't even actually him. It's suspected that it's a Renaissance era picture. But I want to look at something right here right quick.
The coin of Transamine has fashioned the question of Hannibal's phenotype greatly different.
So now this right here, the coin of Transamine. Now what do you see right there? That's a Negro, all right? And basically this coin is something he had commissioned to get made. Not directly of himself, but a coin he had, made. So, people don't make monuments, statues, and money based off of their slaves. They make them based off of the ruling class. So this is a more accurate depiction of Hannibal right here.
Cool. The reason being is twofold. It seems legitimate, and it's far too closely aligned with one of Hannibal's most popular victorious campaigns. While other coins may have been designed to symbolize Hannibal or represent him, this coin of Transamine may have been commissioned by Hannibal to represent himself. The coin seems to have not been minted in Carthage, but in Italy. To some, this may strengthen or weaken its legitimacy. Most people and scholars alike will say that.
So he had this coin made in Italy, which we know that, he was running around when he was fighting Rome. He was running around, in certain parts of Europe. All right, but now let me get this. Just dealing with the fact that, all this. Let me just get this real quick. Now, we normally use this scripture pertaining to Esau, but the other heathens have done this as well. All right. Deuteronomy 19 and 14. So everybody, you know, it's a snatch and grab all down here on the planet Earth. Deuteronomy 19 and 14 says, "Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua thy power giveth thee to possess." So what you're not supposed to do is go around, you know, erasing histories, in a sense of, you know, painting yourself up to be somebody, which Esau Edom famously has done a crime against us, mainly taking our heritage as being the Israelites. But he isn't the only people that's guilty of that. These other heathen also are guilty of that. And so now, y'all, let's dive into Egypt, the curious case of Egypt. First, we're going to look in the scriptures. We know that Egypt, by way of the Israelites, became a great empire. But the Heavenly Father promised to Egypt that it would fall and never rise again. And so when you look through history, you see how that played out. So first, let's go to Exodus 1. Let's go 1 through 8. It says, "Now there arose up a new king over Egypt." Which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, "Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land." Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. So right here, the Egyptians put the Israelites into captivity and made them build up treasured cities. All right, this is when Egypt became great. All right, taking it back to Joseph in Genesis, and then, you know, through the next couple hundred years, the Israelites laboring and building up his kingdom. And we know that after our Exodus, it no longer rose up to power. All right, so now you have here. Now let's jump to the promise in Ezekiel that Egypt would never again rule. And this is dealing with ancient Egypt. Okay, ancient Egypt would no longer be a world power like it once was in the times of Genesis and Exodus. Ezekiel 29 to 15, "And it shall be the basis." Matter of fact, start at 14, so you know that we're talking about Egypt. It says, "And I will bring again the captivity of Egypt, and I will cause them to return into the land of Pathros, into the land of their habitation, and they shall be their base kingdom." It says, verse 15, "And it shall be the basis of kingdoms, neither shall it exalt itself any more above the nations, for I will diminish them, that they rule no more over the nations." So right there, they were diminished. The Lord made it happen to where those actual Matazariamites, or the Hebrew word is Matazarium. The English word is Mizraim. So the Mizraimites in English, they would never rise up like how the ancient pharaohs did. Okay, so what began to happen to them? What is the major empire that took them over and set themselves up in their place? Let's take a look. Matter of fact, y'all, I was just looking up something on the side. I'm about to go get something else, but just something right here. I just happened to click, "Why is Egypt called the Black Land?" You click right here, "Ancient Egyptian Race Controversy." And the fact that this is a controversy in and of itself, it goes to show you, you know, somebody somewhere is lying. Okay, and obviously Esau Edom is lying. Let me just read this first paragraph. It says, "The question of race of ancient Egyptians was raised historically as a product of the early racial concepts of the 18th and 19th centuries, and was linked to models of racial hierarchy, primarily based on craniometry, meaning measuring of the skull, and anthropometry. Anthropometry. So anthropology is the study of man, basically, you know, studying men's kingdoms. It says a variety of views circulated about the racial identity of the Egyptians and the source of their culture. So Esau Edom, the so-called white man, he is trying to keep up the image that the Egyptians are white since they had a great kingdom. Every great kingdom on the earth, Esau has tried to paint it as being an Edomite kingdom, and we know that that's not true. All right, so just scrolling back in this article right here, because the original of the original name, you see, right here says Kemet. All right, and we know that this is a variation from Kham, meaning hot, right? It says ancient Egyptians referred to themselves, and that's another thing. Keep in mind, y'all, they didn't call themselves Egypt or Egyptians. That's what the Greeks called them after they moved in. It says ancient Egyptians referred to their homeland as, it says KMT, Kemet. It says the Egyptians referred to themselves as black people, or KMT, and KM was the etymological root of other words such as Cam or Ham, which referred to black people in Hebrew tradition. So they understand that the Hamites are dark-skinned people, right? They called themselves Kemet, knowing that they're dark-skinned people. But here comes Esau, Edom, you know, trying to say otherwise, and the Arabs that are there today. You damn weak-ass Arabs. Y'all know y'all ain't built no pyramids. Y'all boys been in that desert all that time and ain't did nothing significant. Shut y'all asses up. All right, going down to the highlighted portion. Or right up here, actually. This paragraph right here. I'll start it where it says, however, Sonoran clarified that the adjective KMTYW means people of the black land rather than black people, and that the Egyptians never used the adjective KMTWY to refer to various black people they knew of. They only use it to refer to themselves. So they're, you know, they're trying to spin and twist shit. But as we just saw, you know, they just told you what the KMT meant, you know. But that's how he does. All right, this purple part says mainstream scholars holds that KMT means the black land or the black place, and that this is a reference to the fertile black soil that was washed down from Central Africa by the annual Nile inundation. All right, so obviously, y'all, you're seeing that the land, the people are known for being dark. The land is called after being dark. So what's the big issue? You know, what's the problem? And this is from Quora. Hey, you can find some good stuff on, like, what app is that? This one's Quora. That other one, Reddit, where people give actual you know, testimonies and shit, right? And I'm just read this. This is from a guy. Apparently his name is Nathan Reed. It says, firstly, I'd like to mention that I'm an Egyptologist whom base of research is on primary sources. Conclusions are made with the best of arguments and the least amount of bias. Through my research, I, like every Egyptologist before me, have found the Egyptians to be native Africans, or quote-unquote black people. Migration happened, was documented, and should be taught alongside the Ottoman Empire's invasion from Arabia into Africa. It'll save us Egyptologists plenty of time. Arabs today are open in their non-native identity. However, to boost touring, Egypt began claiming that they were native Egyptians, which the new generation buys. Think how European migrants were taught that they own America and Canada, and natives don't. In every North African nation, there are plenty of natives around. Keep reading and you'll learn something new. So right there, this dude, he admitted he's an Egyptologist. He admitted himself. He said his name is Nathan Reed. He studied at, what did I say there? You know, he's an Egyptologist, but he said, look, all the evidence points that they're, you know, dark-skinned people, and they migrated, and it tells you what? The Ottoman Empire expansion, which was what? Muslim Arabs, you know, and so-called Turks running up in there, which we're going to get to. Okay, so it's like, so I got all sidetracked, but I'm just showing you that the original inhabitants of Egypt were dark-skinned. So now all you got to do, you type in a real quick Google search, typed in, when did the Ptolemaic or the Ptolemaic line take over Egypt? Right here, 305 BC. It says in 305 BC, he declared himself Pharaoh, Ptolemy I, later known as Soter, meaning savior. The Egyptians soon accepted the Ptolemies as the successors to the pharaohs of independent Egypt. Ptolemy's family ruled Egypt until the Roman conquest of 30 BC. So the Edomites hopped up in there around 305 BC and was holding it down for 300 years until the Roman Edomites took over in 30 BC. So this is when the so-called white people, this is when Edomites took over Egypt, started throwing themselves up, hold on, I gotta find that famous picture, hang on. Yup, hey, this picture right here, hey, this shit's a classic, this shit's hilarious. 305 BC is when they got up in there, right? Started acting a fool, because we know that through Alexander, his 4 generals, they were conquering. And one of the lands that got conquered by the Ptolemies, which was of the Seleucid line, was Egypt. And then they started throwing up these paintings. Man, them boys was burning crispy in that sun, goddammit. Them boys had to be in them buildings all day long, right? That shit crazy, man. Hey, man, this nigga E something else. This is funny, bro. Look, American textbooks. Yep. Man, this shit's crazy. And this is an actual, picture, y'all. Like, come on, y'all. This nigga looks like Ned from Home Depot. Like, come on, bro. Come on, y'all. So, hey, this is how, that process began with E. So right here, let me see. Okay, it says the Ptolemaic dynasty. Salakia, why is it hard to see this thing? There we go. The Ptolemaic dynasty, also known as the Laggid dynasty, was a Macedonian Greek royal house which ruled the Ptolemaic kingdom in ancient Egypt during the Hellenistic period, reigning for 275 years. The Ptolemaic was the longest and last dynasty of ancient Egypt from 305 BC until its incorporation into the Roman Republic in 30 BC. So right here you see that these were Macedonian Greeks. All right, so it tells you during the Hellenistic period, which is when Greece was going around putting the beats on everybody, especially on us, the Israelites. All right, so it tells you, I mean, we kind of got what we came here for. He put their asses in subjection. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, we kind of don't need much more else. It goes down the line of motherfuckers. And then that's another thing, y'all. The Cleopatras were actually white women. You had that Netflix movie or show come out some time ago where it showed Cleopatra being a black woman. They're actually incorrect. The Cleopatra there was a descendant of this line. And there was several Cleopatras. It wasn't just one. There's like 4 or 5 of them bitches. But they were actually Edomites, Macedonian Greeks of that line. So those Arabs can't claim her, nor, niggas or Hamites. She is actually an Edomite, a filthy Edomite, doing what they do, which is sleeping around and doing drugs and drinking until they die. All right, so now we're going to go to the next part. So we see that Egypt was taken over by Edom. And this is something that I was, even before I started looking this up, I was able to come to some conclusions of my own. You look in all through the spiritual courses, the spirit and power, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. We've been taught well by the elders and apostles, y'all. So we have a good summary of world history. I was like, well, if they got took over by the Greeks, well, who came next after the Greeks? The Romans. So obviously the Romans would have got up in there. And then what happened? Rome fell. And then who took over? The Byzantine Empire. So logically, I was like, well, you know what? I'm pretty sure the Byzantine Empire was holding down Egypt for a minute. And lo and behold, y'all, let's take a look. Boom, you have here down the line, so several hundred years, some hundreds of years down later, 639 AD, it says, summary, during the reign of Umar, the second caliph of the Arabs, it says, Arab armies, let me make this turn. I swear these people don't pay attention, y'all. Man, hey, look, 50% of driving is driving for the enemy, for everybody else around you, because these people don't pay attention. You getting on the freeway, they not looking. It's just like, man, these people are just fucking dunces. But, all right, back on topic. It says, the Arab armies under the leadership of Amir ibn al-As invaded and conquered Egypt in 639 AD. Egypt was then a province of the Byzantine Empire, ruled by a governor residing in Alexandria, the capital city. So, at some point, the Byzantine Empire, which was Jake, you know, Byzantine, they called it, which the apostles have brought it out in the past, but it's hard to find again now, but it means backwards. And that's really, you know, an insult to Jake. If it's not Edom rule, then, you know, Esau's going to talk some shit about it. But those Jake of the Byzantine Empire, they weren't, you know, they weren't 100% righteous. So they were doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. But we see that they had the control, and then that control got wrestled from them by who? By the Arabs. It tells you plain right here. Plain right here. All right, Salakia, and this is a old video I came across. You know, you look at some of the images of that time. So in the Byzantine Empire, they were Christian Jakes. Salakia if I said Muslim earlier, but they were, you know, so-called Christian. You know, this is the time of the Dark Ages. I'm just letting y'all, I want y'all to see some of the imagery of the time. All right, we know that when Esau came back up to power, you know, he started whitewashing everything. But you see, these here are, you know, pictures of what, you know, the people look like at that time, and they were doing drawings of, you know, the men, the prophets of old, right? So obviously, these weren't white folk. So the fact that Esau Edom has that narrative in the world, you know, it's a false narrative, and he will pay for pushing that shit. You know, here, let me turn aside. Oh shoot, Salakia, y'all. You know what? I don't want to fuck it all up. I'm gonna keep it upright ways, but y'all see the imagery, y'all see the statues, right? Like I said, you don't make statues of the losers. You don't make images of the people whose asses you're whooping and got them in captivity. So just letting y'all see. Let me see. Okay, so right there y'all saw some of the images. So we'll go back real quick. So right here, just scrolling under, it says after the fall of Rome, Egypt became part of the Byzantine Empire until it was conquered by the Muslim Arabs in 641 CE. It says throughout the Middle Ages, from its conquest by the Islamic Empire in the year 641 BC until 641 AD, Salakia, until 1517 AD, Egypt was governed as part of a series of Arab caliphates. So right there, y'all, the Ishmaelites got up in there after 640 AD, and they've been holding it down since. So that's Egypt's current estate, the fact that they're in there. And as we read from that guy, that Egyptologist Nathan Reed, the Arabs that are there are claiming native status to boost tourism. How about that? And this is what I'm reading, y'all. This is from Cambridge, so you can't say, "Oh, this is made up." Yeah, y'all don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you black Hebrew Israelites, you'll just find anything and say, "Nigga, this is from Cambridge, nigga. This is from Cambridge, my nigga." So if you got a problem with what I'm saying, you got a problem with Cambridge, nigga. So take it up with Cambridge, nigga. All right. Let's see. It says during the reign of Umar, the second caliph of the Arabs, the Arab armies under the leadership of Amir ibn al-As invaded and conquered Egypt in 639 AD. Egypt was then a province of the Byzantine Empire, ruled by a governor residing in Alexandria, the capital city. The inhabitants of Egypt, who were monophysite Christians known as Copts, differed from the Melkite Christian Byzantines. So by this time, you know, it's all mix and mash. But you see that the Byzantine Christian Jakes took it over, and then Ishmael got up in there, and that's been who's been holding it down since. Let me see. Okay, yeah, right here. It says throughout the Middle Ages, from its conquest by the Islamic Empire in the year 641 until 1517, Egypt was governed as a part of a series of Arab caliphates. Let me see something real quick. Caliphates. Okay. Caliphate, that's like, okay, from looking at it, it's like one of their terms for like a mini kingdom, a government, if you will. All right, that's like a Islamic term for a government. Says the various caliphs, including the Umayyad and the Fatimid dynasties, kept hold of the country for almost 900 years, despite invasions by neighboring empires and the Crusades being waged against them. During this time, Cairo was built and became capital city, which Cairo, you know, Cairo is the city today. All right, Cairo, Egypt, right? So that's when they got in there. They've been holding it down. All right, scroll down. Let me see what else we got. Okay, hey, it even tells you, you know, even the British got up in there. So Edom got back in there from 1882 till 1956. Right here. So you see, y'all, hey, the true inhabitants, the Matazarium, them tall, dark Africans, they not there no more in mass majority. They've been pushed, and as our apostles teaches, they're the people of Sudan. They got pushed directly south. You know, Manute Bol and them motherfuckers. So just dealing with the fact, I just wanted to, you know, bring this to surface. You know, they got pushed out of that land. All right. Those people that are there now are not the people there of old, ultimately. And you know what? One thing, hey, I'm going to do off with this. Actually, in Revelation 22, now heathens can't make it, right? Because you have those idiots from Boston doing all that bullshit, saying all that bullshit. But I read this earlier, Revelation 22. In the kingdom, y'all, we're going to set things back in order down here on the earth. And when we are given, because right now we're going through the process of good and evil, right? But when we are given the full hold of the tree of life, right, we will be, you know, completely immortal. We will know all things. We'll understand, you know, the constellations and all things that are tied to it, right? The zodiac, right? When we're given the full power from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, what are some of the things we're going to do with that? Revelation 22:2, it says, in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. So with this power and with this knowledge, y'all, when we're given the new bodies and the full understanding of all things in existence for all time, we will restore these heathen back to where they hell belong. So the bugged out Ishmaelites aren't going to be in their land, you know, claiming their heritage. We're going to fix all things in order, all right? But these heathen will not be in our level, nor will they be enjoying the kingdom the way that we will. All right, so that's about it. I hope this is edifying, y'all. I just wanted to, you know, touch on this. I was like, man, you know, all this confusion out here. All this confusion. So I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations. So I'd like to Akim Akwath, learning, teaching, and truth and sincerity. Shalom.